Whoa there, kiddo. The following podcast may contain naughty words, spoilers, and scariest of all, opinions which you might not agree with. You still want to proceed? Well, you are a brave one, aren't you?
So this is part 2. Or could it even be?
Man, it's been a while, guys.
I know,
Or
yeah,
maybe
right?
not. We don't know, really. At this point, you know more than we do, so we're just gonna...
The suspense is killing me.
to the people on Twitter who I promised episode 20 would be a review of Wolf's Rain. If this is episode 20, then sorry, Wolf's Rain isn't going to happen probably until next week.
Oh god, why did you make promises?
I don't know, because there was one of our Twitter followers who. Oh, by the way, thank you very much, Neo, whoever you are. They have many, many more followers than we do, about 500 or something like that. And I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but this person decided to retweet all of our stuff, and so yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So thanks for that. That's cool. Right, where were we?
Crossange.
Crossange, alright.
Crossange.
A weird fucking...
Wait, who was it who actually said that it was brave? One of our subscribers did actually make a comment on that. He said you were very brave for liking Crossange, or whatever. I'm going to say Crossange. They said you were very brave for watching Crossange.
Can we just call it Crossange?
Ange, whatever.
No, they say... her name's Angelise, and then she shortens it, which is a real Western name, and then she shortens it to Angie, which I've never heard in my life. And it's
You've never heard the name Angie before?
I've heard the name Angie.
Angie, yeah,
Angie.
I have heard, but they say it like Angie.
Angie.
Oh, it's probably just Japanese.
With a bit of an accent. Angie. Yes. I'm a bunch of stupid
anyway, Crossange just rolls off the tongue really nicely.
The subscriber did make a comment to say you were very brave to say that you like Crossange because he was pretty sure it was softcore hentai.
Oh, I'll get to that. So,
boy.
I don't really know where to start. It's I'll start with the beginning, because the beginning is fucking atrocious.
That's always a good place to start.
I would say the first 4, maybe 5 episodes are horrendous. The thing is, though, I even when I was watching it, and there was a big shitstorm circle jerk going around Crossange when it came out.
Oh yeah, we seen that.
People were dumping on it so hard, and it deserved a lot of that for sure. It had really gross fan service, some rape scenes that weren't necessarily warranted at that point. Lesbian rape scenes, I'll point out.
Oh, is that okay then? I do want to stop you there before you carry on, because I did watch the first episode of this and I loved that first episode a hell of a lot. Until the end of it happened. Was that one of the rape things that you mentioned that you're talking about now? Was that rape?
Is this where like the kind of gross older woman with blonde hair and
she's strapped
like
to a table?
Yeah.
I can't remember if there was a tattoo on a boob. You'd think that's something I'd remember, but no.
Yeah, if you didn't like that part, the thing is a lot of the stuff that happens at the start of the anime is unjustified. Well, not quite so much unjustified as it's really out of context. And when it goes more into detail, it kind of piles on so much stuff that it's going to do later in the start, where you don't understand what the anime is and where it's coming from, and then it just seems super gross. And well, the thing is it seems gratuitous in that first episode, where it's not at all. When you see where they're going with that stuff, you understand like actually doing this properly. But you didn't know that at first, because like the fan service sours you so much, and then you're just looking for things to shit on and ways to bash it.
I'm trying to remember the beginning of episode 2 now, because Lord knows I tried, but was somebody getting so a hand in pants? I remember. Was that a thing that happened, or am I thinking of something else? Oh right, okay, yeah. So that is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, you're right. The fan service did completely put me off, and I had no idea where the show was going.
Exactly. The fan service is a constant throughout. Even through all of the battle scenes, and especially the final battle as well, there's fan service all the way through it. It's really out of place. It's completely unwarranted, and it takes quite a lot away from the series. And I said, I mean, not to spoil my score, but I said if it wasn't for the fan service, I'd give it a 10.
Wow. All right.
The fan service in the first 4 episodes. So I'm gonna get into. So I'll get the ways it's bad out of the way first. So it starts off. It starts off at really high pace, and I think it gets ahead of itself very quickly. To the point where it kind of seems all over the place. A lot of stuff's happening, and you don't really understand why. Like a lot of characters die first couple episodes, and I was seeing a lot of comments of people saying that, like, "Oh yeah, another character died. Am I supposed to feel sad about this and stuff?" Which is, I guess, is warranted because you really don't understand what's going on. And then I'd say I think it was episode 5 or episode 6. There's this really amazing episode where she crash lands onto a desert island with a boy, and then it's this actually quite sweet romance between them for the episode, and that's all it is. It's just them basically just like...
Hang on a minute. We discussed this in an episode of Reanimate, I think. Didn't you say there was many moments in this episode where he somehow, we don't know how, but he did somehow end up
the
with
thing
his
is,
face
though,
buried up her arse?
Crotch.
Crotch. Oh, okay.
He goes nose deep several times.
That's significantly better.
I think my words were somewhere along the lines.
Cute and romantic.
The thing is, they turn it into like a joke almost. It's a running joke to the point, and I don't know, that part of the fan service, it actually kind of redeemed itself in a kind of sweet way at the end, where it actually happens at a moment, and I kind of was like, "Aw," because eventually she gets to the point where it happens, and then she's just like, "I'm okay with this, actually."
It's like, "Why are you down there, love?"
Yeah, and that episode is absolutely it's wonderful. It's really, and the thing is it catches you so off guard because you're just not happy at all after the previous episodes. So this one is really good, and then literally from that point on, it just gets better.
Well, fair play to you for sticking it out that long and actually getting to the good stuff, I guess.
I dropped it around episode 3, episode 4. There was some stuff because it got really ahead of itself. Some of the stuff it was doing in the first episode wasn't terrible if you had the context for it. And I kind of saw that and I was interested. So when I heard from a lot of people that it was getting good and it was getting better and it was getting really good, I actually went back to it. So yeah, the lesbian stuff is kind of along the same lines as... any of you guys watch Orange is the New Black, the Netflix series, which is about a women's prison?
Nope.
It's basically about like along those lines where you stick a bunch of girls in
ITV series though. I did watch that ITV series. Bad Girls was it called? The old women's prison. I watched that back ages ago.
Yeah, they basically live in
because that's funny.
They basically live in an all women prison, and it just ends up happening. Like kids are horny, and the thing is like there's actual romances that form between the girls, and quite a bit of confusions as well. There's this actually really great scene when one of the characters confronts one of the bullies from the start confronts Angie at the end, so eventually falling in love with her, and she confronts her like just saying like, I know you like the guy, and I know you're not into this, but I quite like you. And then she's like, oh, I know it's weird, I know it's not right. And then Angie's just like, nah, fuck it, do what you want. Who cares? This world's fucked up anyway.
YOLO.
Yeah, so they actually handle homosexuality better than any anime I've ever seen. And the thing is, I think they probably... A lot of the show feels forced on them. Like, I bet you anything the fan service is, like, producer mandated. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the lesbian scenes were as well, but they turned it. They fucking turned it on its head and made it into actually a strong point of the series, in my opinion. Yeah, the ongoing romance is well handled and sweet. There's a I'd say a fairly well handled sex scene, a much better sex scene than the one in shit.
Nearly.
Good
You
job,
stopped
Tom.
yourself,
Well,
though, so well done.
the listeners. The action is good throughout. The music is great throughout. Both OPs are bad. Both EDs are bad.
At least
The
it's
story is
consistent,
really interesting and genuinely interesting. So the premise is that there is a very powerful entity who is basically a god called Embryo Sama, which is
Embryo-sama.
it's a hilariously bad name. He's called Embryo.
Yeah.
Anyway, He's like straight up, he's a rapist, and he's also God. Yeah. He's hideously sexist.
I just imagine like a
he's very
pre-fetal-
similar to Archer from
I was
Fate
just
Zero.
about to say, is this Gilgamesh we're talking about now?
Yeah, very, very similar character, but a bit hornier. And yeah, it gets really fucking insidious. That where basically it kind of boils down to that these like strong, independent women are rising up against the rapist culture of God. And the thing is, as well, that sounds hilarious to anyone that's been on the internet before.
Yeah.
It's genuinely good. And they genuinely handle it quite well. Like, it's not overt, it's not in your face, and it's not like, it's never actually even stated. It's just, that's kind of what's happening, and that's the theme, really, is, yeah, women rising up against the oppressive man. And it's good. Yeah, they handle it quite well. They handle it better than I'd ever expected an anime like that to handle it.
Strong, independent women who don't need no rapist god.
Yep.
I'm all for that. That's cool.
They handle the rapist part of it really disgusting.
Man, when I
It's
Google
really
cross-ange, I
disgusting.
get a lot of butts.
Yeah. And I guess to wrap it up, the best character is the main character, just like in Yona. She starts off. This is where we draw the comparisons. It's
they both
almost
start off as a
identical.
princess, right?
It's like, yeah, they're both princesses. Their families both die in like episode 1, and then they're put into a much a harsh like survival situation. Is that still cracking you up?
The image.
Oh, the image. Let's have a look.
Oh, if nobody reacted to that, I would have cut that out then. Yeah,
I
that's
don't know if that needs
one
context.
of many. You actually, to give that image context, she's been hanged.
I was going to say, is there any particular reason why she's wearing a noose, or is this just another fetish the show tries to explore?
She was baited back to home because she was sent a fake like audio recording of her sister calling for help. She was lured back to home so they could publicly execute her.
Oh, because her brother's got a big problem with her, right?
Yeah, well, that's another part of the series I was going to brush over because it's not super important, but basically she's a norma, which means she can't use mana, which is kind of like the electricity of the world, kind of like the internet, but everyone's got it inside themselves. And there's a very manufactured culture of prejudice against the norma, which is created by the embryo god thing.
Is it a female exclusive thing?
Yeah, it's a female exclusive thing, which they actually explain at the end because
There's a lot of images like that. This is super lewd.
Yeah, so the human race was genetically altered by embryo, so they could be basically controlled, and mana is the way that he controls the human race. But the women's genetics would reject it on the basis that I can't remember exactly what they said, but yeah, they do explain why it's something to do with preserving the goodness of the human race. Like the human gene can't be beaten into submission, basically. Which was pretty cool. No, she was being publicly tortured, and then she was being hung when he saved her, and then fell off his bike right into her crotch.
I can actually see how that would get funny if that was kind of just like...
it gets funny because by the time that scene happens, I think it's the 4th time it's happened, and I'm fairly certain she says seriously or not again or something like that when that one happens. Like, right now, you're doing this right now. So by that scene, it's already a joke. The main character gets. You said Yona gets spunky. I would say.
I don't know if spunky is the right word, but yeah, like.
I think I get what you mean though.
Yeah.
Ange gets savage. Like, she's basically like a warrior princess. She's quite violent.
I can't spoil the scene and all that happens in Yona where you're just like, oh my god, this is cool. But like that, there's like this moment where she's like all out, and it's like, damn.
Damn, girl.
There's a lot of that.
Is that the scene with the eyes?
No, that was a different scene. But she gets those eyes on occasion, and like those are like her like little moments. It's similar to the OP, Ravi. near the end of the OP. You're
okay.
like, yeah, if she gets like
The
that, I
second
definitely
OP,
want to
right?
watch this. Yeah, the second OP.
You see, with everything you've just said, Tom, it does sound like an extremely interesting show, but someone like myself, I'm not... This coming from the guy who watched and enjoyed Infinite Stratos, but I'm not really quite sure if I could get over all that fan service, really. I don't know what it is with me. I've got such a big fucking problem with it.
I can be
It's not
very
the main
averse
point
to
of it,
fan
from what
service.
Tom said.
Yeah,
Later on, it sounds like...
I know it's not, which is a big fucking huge problem with Infinite Stratos, but at the same time, the fact that there's so much of it there...
It does really detract from the series. The series would be so much better if there wasn't any fan service in it, or if they turned the fan service down and kept the sexuality there, but removed the fan service, it would be so much better. But it's still a good show despite the gross fan service, which I think that actually just says how strong the story is. Genuinely strong female characters, like not in a manufactured way, not in a in-your-face feminism way, just like that's the way the story goes, and it doesn't point it out, it doesn't really talk about it at all, it just gets on with it. And the last thing I'll say is there's basically two male characters, the villain and the love interest, and the way they contrast their two views on women is really good, where the love interest is a knight, and he basically lets Angie be herself, and he like respects and admires her strength, where the villain basically just is more along the lines of women should be in the kitchen. Women should be seen but not heard. You know what I mean? And I thought that contrast was really well done. It's good. It is legitimately good. There's so much more going on in its story than the majority of anime I've seen lately. Lots of like interesting thematic stuff around subjects you just don't see, like homosexuality, sexuality in general, gender equality, discrimination. Although discrimination is quite common stuff. Like Code Geass is quite similar, I'd say. It's got a lot of similar along that stuff.
Well, I mean, that's still a big issue within Japan, isn't it? The likes of same-sex couples and what have you. I mean, did I read somewhere this week that there was only one province in Japan that actually that's legalized same-sex relationships?
Yeah,
Or something like that. I read it on the BBC. I don't know.
Yeah, and I've never seen homosexuality portrayed like other than a joke in anime. The
one show where I have seen it before was From the New World, which I reviewed, by the way, episode 2 of Reanimates, if you want to check it out.
There's a rainbow. And
there's this character.
6.
There's a character in Full Metal Alchemist. When he's off in Rush Valley, there's a gay mechanic, and he's just gay, and they don't mention it, and they don't make a joke about it.
Or?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Quite early on. It was definitely in Brotherhood. I rewatched it, and he was just gay, but they didn't reference it in any way, make a joke out of it. That's really rare, because if a character's gay, it's usually as a joke.
The way they tackled it in From the New World, if it's been so long since I've watched it now, I can't remember all that much about it, but I think it had something to do with bonobos monkeys or something like that, and the way that two different monkeys would mate with each other regardless of the sex, just because it was a form of showing love. So they wanted to introduce that into the human species, so everybody would think more positively and just treat each other better, I guess. So yeah, again, I haven't seen it in a long time, but they did tackle that. They did kind of tackle that in a way, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and gay characters in anime are usually just perverts.
Leron
that hit on the main character.
That's who I was.
Yeah, that hit on and scare the main character. That's the only purpose they serve.
Lloyd from Code Geass, I'm pretty sure he was gay. They didn't actually say he was gay, but he must be. Well, actually, no. They most said he was more... I don't know. He was into his robots, I guess. It's probably the best way to put it.
The one anime I've seen which has like the strongest gay themes without actually like portraying it in any like, you know, biased way is number 6. It's like a post-apocalyptic world where they like lived in a walled city called Number 6. One of them escapes and he's like basically living with this other guy, and at the end they just have a relationship and there's nothing else to it. Like
That's
at the end,
that's
they
brilliant. That's like the way it should be done.
Yeah.
But
If only the show was better.
yeah, and that's the problem is with the lesbian stuff in Code. I almost said Code Angie then. Cross Ange. It definitely gets introduced as being gratuitous and for shock value almost. But it wraps up in a really nice way. Like just the scene where she's like, "The world's fucked up. I don't care. You just be you." It's amazing.
All right, then. Do you want to give that the 3 R's?
I do. 9 out of 10. I don't know if it would be a 9 out of 10 for most people, but I have such low expectations of it because of the first episodes. And when people said it got
you give me
better,
high expectations. I'll let you know how I feel after I watch it.
yeah, that's the thing. I think if going in with hearing a lot of praise, it might not impress the same way it impressed me. So definitely keep an open mind about it. I think I had a quite unique experience with it. However, I would definitely give it a 9. I felt very strongly. It would have been a 10 for me if it wasn't for the fan service. The fan service, while I glossed over it for the most part, it's so constant. It's every episode, all the time. It's just gross. Like, there's no excusing it. It shouldn't be there. It takes away from the story and it makes it worse. And maybe the fan service sold copies so that these guys could make some more stuff in the future. I don't know. Kind of sad state anime's in right now. But yeah, I would definitely try and get through the first. I would even say maybe you could skip the first couple episodes. Just like read the fucking synopsis on Wikipedia. I don't know. Get to the island episode. But no, I'm not even going to say that. Go through the bad to get to the good, because the grass is going to be so much greener on the other side when you get to it. And it's only a few episodes, so it's an investment, but if you invest, you'll definitely get a lot out of it. Rewatch is an interesting question. I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe when you're feeling frisky.
Oh my.
No, I've got a GIF folder for that. Print screen.
Webends are where it's at now. Welcome to the future.
No,
now with sound.
The thing is I had a very, I can't think of the words. I had a very unique experience with it that I do not think I'd enjoy it as much if I would, because it wouldn't be a surprise anymore. And,
wow, it stopped being shit.
No, it's more like when I'm seeing all the terrible stuff in the first episodes, I'm like, oh, I really hope this is going somewhere. I really hope they have a plan for this. And then it did go somewhere, and they did have a plan for it. And everything that happened for a reason, more or less. So, but no, I don't think I ever would rewatch it. I wouldn't want to ruin it. Recommend comes with big ifs. If you can handle the fan service, go for it. If you think you can get through 5 episodes, as long as you know it's going somewhere and it's got a plan in those 5 episodes, and it's not bullshit that it's throwing at you for shock value, then yeah, go for it. I definitely think it's worth your time and it's worth a try, but you've got to know what you're getting yourself in for.
Very good then. All right. So we've got Cross Ange out the way. What have we got next?
Sakano.
Right.
Yeah, however you pronounce that.
Yeah. I mean, most of my review will probably just be defending it from Tom.
And me.
Oh, did Tom not like it?
I really didn't like it, no.
Yeah,
to be fair, I watched 2 episodes.
There is a very strong reason he didn't like it, and it really doesn't change from that. Like, the episode 0 is just all fan service, no plot, nothing else. The rest of the show is just all minor plot. Like, it doesn't actually end. The goal is...
I thought you recommended this to me.
I recommended this for very, very casual watching. Not to, like, actually, look forward to, oh, this happens, this is going to happen next. Basically, the show is about this otaku guy, super otaku, like very, very stereotype, like super...
Like this guy's on a completely different level from us. He is just...
How many episodes did you watch, Dave?
I watched the episode 0 special, and I think I watched 3 after that.
was gonna say, because you were the one who was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it was after the first 2 episodes. As Ravi said, then the first episode of episode 0 was all fan servicey, and I wasn't that much into it. I found it pretty funny, but then the next episode I found fucking hysterical because there was none of that there. And I've said this before. There were many times where we came so close to a panty shot or something lewd might happen, and then it was like, oh, none of that. That's not going to happen now. You got all that in episode 0. And I thought the show was being pretty clever, but as it rolled on, it just bored me, really. There wasn't really that much going on. It kind of seemed a bit over-dramatic as well. He was trying to recruit these girls to work on the game that he wanted to produce, and it was forced drama is all I could say, because we all know that they're going to end up working on the game with him, because we've seen episode 0, so we know at some point they're all going to get together and work on this project. But I don't know, it got really boring. It was a bit too over dramatic, and there's not really much more I can say on that one. I don't think I'd want to carry it on. But I'll let Ravi take it from here.
There's a lot of negative points about the show, like the characters are not at all original. They are strongly built on tropes, and that's actually what they're intended for. They're not intended to be anything else. But there's a very strong like theme of just relaxed and general chill in the show that I would say a lot of people would enjoy if they can like move past the fact that these characters are not original, the comedy's not all that comedic, and the plot isn't actually a plot. So basically, if you just want to watch this show for like time wasting, go ahead. Otherwise, not really. But
no, Cassie just fucked off. I was waving goodbye. Sorry, come on, carry on.
Yeah, basically, I don't know what to say. I like the music a lot. It was very relaxed,
the music
very
was
chill.
nice. I
like the OP. The animation was fairly well handled.
That's one thing I did quite like.
Hard.
It was the visuals of it were very, very unique. I wasn't too hot on the character design, especially the tsundere girl. What was her name?
Harry.
The tsundere girl is basically the joke for Kasaya.
Yeah.
She was. I forgot what I was going to say. The weird. She's got the fang that some anime girls have got, like the one fang.
Yeah, she has.
It kind of seemed like the skin of her lip was covering the fang, and I really minor complaint, but it stood out in my mind as something that I should remember and be like, no, don't like that. That was stupid.
But even with all those problems, I did actually enjoy watching the characters and their relationships to each other. Like within those tropes, where they were able to, I don't know, they built some pretty nice relationships off that. And the main character, even though he's a very stereotypical person, he actually allows them to develop. And I mean, obviously they don't like actually go through with all of it. It's just, standard harem, like this is, one possible route that they could take or whatever. But like each girl gets their own like individual episode or pair of episodes, and it works out pretty well. It's fun. There's nothing much more to say about it.
3 O's?
Was it better than Maria the Virgin Witch?
Yeah, I liked watching it a lot more.
Maria
I look forward to it. I did not look forward to Maria. Psychonaut, I give it a 6.5. Yeah. I wouldn't rewatch it just because there's no real reason to, no motivation. There's nothing to draw you back into it. There are other things to watch. I recommend if you're looking for a show with basically no substance. Yeah.
So no then.
Yep.
I don't know. Sometimes you do want something like that, though. Like,
can't say I've ever needed something like that.
And the music is good enough to like make it enjoyable.
Did anybody die? Were there any guns, robots, tanks, nukes? No. Okay.
No. Has a few girls.
A knife? No, I'm done. Go on.
All I'm going to say, I really
There's an
did not like the
knife.
show, but it was quite personal because it just really rubbed me the wrong way. All I'm going to say really is it just felt it felt so proud of itself about these jokes. Basically it's like it starts off by breaking down a bunch of character tropes and then making all of its characters tropey and like being like, haha, how ironic is that? Aren't we so clever? You're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. And God, just shit like the two main characters he goes to meet like just happen to be the two exotic beauties of the school. The white-haired beauty and the black-haired beauty?
Pretty much, yeah.
And of course he's like a fucking faceless otaku, put the face on.
Faceless main characters are the best. What are you talking about?
Oh, are we going there right now then?
No, I
That
personally,
was a bit of sarcasm.
I was just thinking to myself, I wonder who you could possibly thinking about. Would it be Ina Ho by any chance?
I'll go over there, Dave. You know I am.
we're an ass class away from great debate, but
I was wondering on that one. Do we really need to go over Assassination Classroom because
I
we've
think
already
Ravi
done
could
it
give it
in
like
2
a
episodes.
20-word summary. Did anything happen? Was there any
Nothing
difference
happens, but it's
the-
fun.
Yeah, so like the
But
point.
it wasn't fun enough.
The storyline did stayed on point, started on
Good,
point
but it's
A
not
and
quite
finished
the
on
one.
point A, right? There was no
Magical
point B.
Boys was more fun.
It's kind of like point A, point 1.
Right. Yeah, it just kind of seems like a procedural show, really. Like each episode is a new story. Nothing ever happens.
I don't know, and it feels predictable in a sense. Like, if it ended and people were like, no, it was like there's a big twist or something that you didn't expect to
Well,
totally
you know what
happen,
the twist
because
is.
A bunch of the
It just
episodes
all feels
are
so,
like,
like, obvious, and it doesn't make me
it's
look
like
forward to
villain of
watching
the week, but more it's like assassin of the week.
it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
I don't
meant
know.
by procedural,
And
yeah.
none of the characters really grabbed my attention either.
Okay, so that's enough about Trap Class. It's
I think Elmo Zero's next.
it's time.
I said cry, yeah. I'll start off by saying I loved this series from episode 1 until about episode 10.
The worst
And
thing, the worst crime season 2 of Old No Zero committed was being good.
Yeah. It was starting to deliver. It was as you said, Tom, it was starting to deliver. It was starting to fulfill its promises, and it promised a spectacular finale. And we didn't get one. We got quite the opposite, in fact. It was... Do you know what? I'll say it. It was one of the worst endings, if not the worst ending in anime I've ever seen in my fucking life. And I am still... It happened 3 weeks ago, and I'm still mad about it, and...
I'm surprised how annoyed I got. The thing is, I'm annoyed because I got my hopes up. I got my hopes up. I gave Old No Zero season 1 my most disappointing anime, and guess what?
It's gonna happen again.
This is the most disappointing. This is the most disappointed I've ever been by an
I
anime.
think it's
And
because
Tom,
you
and Tom,
guys
this
have
time
made it
I'm going to
sound
back you
so
up and I'm going to make
fucking
sure
bad.
you win that argument.
Like, I sat down and watched the final episode, everything leading up to it. I loved it all, and I watched it. And when it ended, I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
How much did you drink? Cassie?
how much-
None.
Just
I
over-
was sober.
Maybe that's why.
How disappointing is that, though?
I'm joking.
The whole season is ramping up to a wet fart.
Yeah, like, I can't say it was good at all, but I didn't... I didn't hate it.
That is one of the best fucking descriptions I've ever heard in my life.
So we need to clarify the let's get the ending out of the way, because that's what me and Dave are like almost exploding over. We need to let the steam out. We need to vent.
So this is going to be spoilers. If you haven't seen Old No 2, please do stick around anyway, so we can try and talk you out of watching it. No, I'm joking. Obviously, if you don't want to listen to spoilers, it's going to be spoiled now. So skip ahead. 25 minutes or so.
So
It's not even really good spoilers, though.
the problem was it wasn't a bad ending from a content perspective. It wasn't an ending. Like,
yeah,
I don't like. Okay, so they spend all of season 2 ramping up, and the battles are getting bigger and bigger. Slane is getting more and more power, and the stakes are getting higher and higher.
It's also getting more and more fucking insane.
Inaho is
becoming a much better character as well in the process.
Becoming genuinely
finally
super
had a
interesting.
time to shine.
Yeah,
And,
Slane is my favorite character to hate. Like,
And they're setting up all of these things with this civil war. This giant civil war is brewing in the Martian Empire, and also there's dissent on the Deucalion or whatever it's called, as the commands they've been given are more and more suicidal, and like what's going on there.
And there was no explanation for that
Nope.
whatsoever. Because in my mind, I thought to myself, okay, they're definitely being controlled by some faction of the Martians or the Verse Empire.
I was thinking it was more from a political standpoint of this is a Martian ship powered by Martian technology. It's too risky. Let's send it on the most suicidal missions possible, and then it's a win-win. Either they succeed or they don't. We can get rid of them. Like, that's kind of what I thought was going on there. They introduced these two characters who did fucking nothing. They introduced the dude, Cretio's son, who could have gone so far. He could, like, married Princess Island.
They brought him in just to marry the princess, and that I didn't understand whatsoever as well. Like,
everything makes sense if there was a season 3. Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. Season 2, it felt like the middle series. It felt like the strong middle part of the series. It felt like The Empire Strikes Back, where things get dark, things get intense, and it all ramps up, and you can't wait for the season 3. Except up until the last 5 minutes of the last fucking episode, Slain gets captured, and that should be what happens in season 3, is where it goes from there. And then the last 5 minutes of the episode, it tries to wrap up every single plot line as fast as it could. There's no fucking explanations for anything. There's no satisfaction for any fucking plot point in the series. And it just, like, it's a wet fart. It just almost negates everything that's happened up to that point. Because it kind of feels like it was all for nothing. It was all trivial. That's exactly what it does. It trivializes everything that happens up to that point. And when you were getting invested over an entire season, it's just heartbreaking.
Do you know what? I don't think I could put it any better than what you've just did, but only just to add to it. As I said, then what's going on with the princess? Okay, maybe if there was an explanation, we knew that Count Crucio's son and the princess knew each other when they were children. All right, let's get a little bit of an explanation there. Were they in love when they were kids? Were there any promises made when they were kids and an arranged marriage?
No, I think that
perhaps?
was all political. That was political as fuck.
Yeah, it must be. But I can't help but think, like, why did she need a husband? Does the verse?
I actually agree with everything Tom said. I guess I'm just not as upset about it. But like, that could have used a lot more of a setup than what it got. Like,
well, that's the thing. They could have set it up in season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect to take into a season 3.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that, because I'm pretty sure Alno Zero is doing really fucking well.
I think it is.
There's no reason not to. Like,
yeah, it is over here at least.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not always a parallel between Western sales and Eastern sales, but yeah.
Dead Man Wonderland.
Yeah, and I guess Death Parade, well, that's going to come up.
Yeah, for sure. We have to talk about
that. But, yeah, just what a letdown. I was so hyped for the next fucking season.
I was as well. Like last time when I knew Alno was coming to an end, I knew, like, obviously not everything's going to wrap up right now. But I've completely lost my words here. I'm just fucking angry. With this one, I knew it wasn't going to end, but I was like, okay, but I know this episode's going to be so fucking mind-blowing, it's going to make me want more. And then that happened. Because it's a combination of everything, like a civil war between the Verse Empire. What Tom said then about different factions all colliding and arguing with each other. And all that was left at the end of it was like, some of the Martians...
Nothing in the last episode that was, like, supposed to make you care. Like,
there's no satisfaction, there's zero payoff.
Like, they didn't even kill any fucking characters off. They just...
Yeah, that's another thing.
All those death flags! What happened to all those death flags? Like, holy crap.
Yeah, I know. Like,
they even
why
made a
didn't
joke
Yuki
about
die?
it.
Why didn't Marito die? Why didn't Inaho die the first time? Like...
Well, let's not get back to that one.
Fuck that. And there was another thing as well that really frustrates me, because I think we discussed this before, but wanting to see Slain, like, get his own faction together and go up against the Verse Empire. In my mind, he had so many allies, because everybody pretty much abandoned whatever the princess's grandfather was called. They all seemed like they were prepared to swear loyalty to Slain, and a lot of them were. And then right at the very end, they set
that up when the counts that were previously prejudiced against him go to his side because he gets results. You know what I mean? They set that up. They set it up in the second to last episode. They set up a plot point that goes nowhere. What?
And then right at the end, they even said that there are still Martian landing castles on Earth who won't give up territory. Like, surely they would have sided with Slain as well? It doesn't make any sense.
So, here's my very optimistic theory. The ending of season 1 ended up being bullshit, but we didn't know that until the start of season 2.
Don't need to point it out, I know.
What they're doing this time is they saw, okay, well, people got really upset when we just ruined the ending of season 1 in the start of season 2. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to ruin the ending of season 2 in season 2, and then that way everyone's going to be happy about season 3.
The ending of season 1 wasn't really ruined. That would have been cool if that had actually gone through.
Yeah,
I mean, they did really
cool.
well. Like, they actually did really well with it, and like they still like kind of made Slain like the main character and had him go through all that shit. That was really good.
The Slain half of, well, I mean, you could apply this to all of Ultimate Zero, but the Slain half of the ending of season 1 was good. The inner half was not good.
See, he was the one I thought would actually be dead. Like, I actually supported that.
Yeah.
Like, he should have died.
I mean, it would be very difficult. I mean, he is basically a one-man army in that universe.
Yeah, then they wouldn't have their wild card for season 2 to go, oh, Earth 1, Earth 1, Earth 1.
It is kind of almost poor writing in the fact that literally the only human character, Earth.
Yeah, I did expect the
Earth-ish?
princess to live just because it made a point of noting that her body was missing, and I was like, oh, so they probably have their Martian technology and something will happen.
Yeah, I just...
Yeah.
I mean, the joke I made to Dave is that Geno Ibuchi left on the final day before they shipped the final episode.
Yeah,
and he was out at Starbucks, like starting his draft of season 3, but he forgot to mention that he was going to make season 3, so everyone panicked and wrapped up season 2, wrapped up all the plot points.
And he came back into the studio and he's like, "What have you done?" And
what did you do? He drops his coffee.
Some poor intern gets a hot frappuccino thrown right in his face. Walking around the studio
I think
flipping
frappuccinos
tables.
are cold, Dave.
Well, frappuccino. I don't know. All right,
They're the
cappuccino
iced
then.
ones.
Yeah.
Cappuccino then. Mochajita.
Well, no, he had a frappuccino, but he got so angry he boiled it.
Boiled in his hand.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks for saving me there, Tom. I appreciate that.
And this, my original point, the biggest problem with season 2 is that it was so good, because I was very disappointed by season 1. Almost nothing happened until the last episode. It was really dull, in my opinion. And I was expecting so much out of that cast. And I was starting to get that. I was starting to be vindicated. I was starting to be proven wrong by the team behind Old No Zero. And then all of that got taken away from me again.
I don't know. I still liked it. Like, overall, as a thing. Like, I don't like the last episode, but, like, it didn't ruin everything for me, I guess.
For what it's worth, that is a really, really good 11-episode run.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Absolutely, it was.
They did so much right. And so much of the stuff that was dull in season 1 was just setting up for the stuff they did right in season 2.
I love what they did with Slain. Like, that was perfect. And that moment where Eno said, "Are you going to use the princess?" basically. And it was that kind of reflection of season 1. And then Slain standing there like, whoa. And then, I don't care. I'm doing what I have to do. Like,
the only time Inaho is interesting was when he's interacting with Slain. In season 1, it was teaching Slain that war is about killing the enemy. And then when Slain turns that around on him at the end of season 1, and that's why Slain did nothing wrong.
They interact really well. It is entertaining. I like it.
But the worst part of season 2, just to bring it up, apart from the ending, which was dumb the whole way through, was the Jesus Eye. That was my only complaint for 11 episodes. My only complaint. Well, I'm done. I've vented. Do we give it 3 hours, or is it just I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was really bad. Anyway.
I guess I'll go episodes 1 to 11, 10 out of 10. Because the eye thing
You're
was
giving
really
it a 10 out of 10 now? Did you do that last year?
No, I did. I gave it an 8. Or an 8.5.
I was gonna say, what?
No, okay, so season 2, episodes 1 to 10, I was going to give it a 10 out of 10 because even though the eye stuff really didn't make that much sense and it annoyed me.
No, fuck you.
I liked it. I liked everything that it was doing. The action scenes were fantastic.
When he
Sawano
strolled
was
up in that episode, I got so fucking hype I couldn't sit down.
And yeah, I enjoyed every second of it, and I looked so forward to it. And then episode 12 happened, and it ended everything. It completely, in my eyes, it ruined the series for me, because when I look back at that now, I don't think of the 11 episodes of fun that I had. I think of that terrible ending.
I'm going to point out that your score of season 1 changed after you saw spoilers. Now,
Yeah,
if there is a season 3, would that change your score of season 2?
See, it's funny too, because those spoilers ended up being
how
good.
it does it. It depends how it does it, really. I don't know.
It could, though. It could. It is possible to save it, but the thing is the way they wrapped
How
up.
do you do that? The last episode was all a dream? Like...
No, the way they wrap stuff up on episode 2, there would need to be a significant time skip for new stuff to start coming up, because they wrapped up everything very poorly. But
It'll just start with Slane waking up in a cold sweat, going, "Oh, that was a terrible dream."
Or Dave waking up in a cold sweat.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't actually watch cartoons.
Maybe
Oh, boy.
Madoka will come and save it. Like, Madoka will just materialize with her arms outstretched. And the power of Geno
my
Ibuchi
God.
will wash over.
I don't even think I would complain about that, though, if they pulled some bullshit like that, because that means that wasn't actually the end and it keeps going.
Yeah, it would be more
I could forgive
Madoka.
that.
So on that note, I'm still gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I think I'm gonna give, because as much as I still, whenever I think of Al Noah now, I think back to that terrible ending. I still have to remember the fact that I had a lot of fun. Episodes 1 through to 11.
Yeah.
So I think an 8 out of 10 is fair. Would I recommend it? Well, I'm gonna have to, because I can't just say,
You
"Wow,
have
look at how
to.
much fun I had with it," but because the ending was terrible,
I
no,
think
don't watch it.
if we were prepared for it, it wouldn't be bad. And I think Cassie got prepared
See,
for it.
that was my thing, yeah. Like,
When me and Dave, we were there on ground zero.
yeah.
Stood there in the smouldering ruins going, "Get her, Ibuchi!"
I mean, we were literally just holding each other after that episode, just stunned, and we were just like, "What? What? What?
No!
Not again!"
What did you do?
See, I was expecting, like, Tokyo Ghoul to your shit. That is honestly what I was
Well, that's the
expecting
thing.
at that point.
That's the thing. It's not bad. It's disappointing. It's a distinction to make.
That's the best way to describe it. It's not bad.
And
it's
intense
disappointing.
disappointment doesn't make it bad, because it's mediocre. That's the thing. But it is intensely disappointing.
Also, my ratings are the exact same as Dave's. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 as well, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rewatch it. Overall, all of Al Noah Zero, seasons 1 and 2, 7.5, 8 out of 10. Probably an 8 out of 10.
Also, I think
say.
Al Noah Zero might be my favorite anime soundtrack. I
love it. It's the soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal.
honestly, the way it, like, at least how it's placed in the anime gets me going. Like, I love it. Like, it's great.
I don't think it's Sawano's best work, but I think it's up there.
I think it's just every time it comes in, like, I know what I'm expecting and I get fucking hype about it. Like, I like it a lot.
I did as well, yeah. And to finish it off, rewatch? No, I'm not going to rewatch it. I've had my fun. I've rewatched season 1 twice. I think I've gotten everything else of this anime that I can get. So I'll end it there.
Yeah.
So would you guys recommend it rewatching? I guess you would recommend it, right?
I would recommend it, but with a solemn hand on the shoulder, just like, it's coming.
It's coming.
So
the
guys,
ending sucks.
tell me.
The ending sucks.
Tell me,
What?
should I watch it?
Well, that's what we're talking about now. This is the recommendation part. As long as you
Although
go
you already
in,
know a bunch of spoilers. Like,
As long as-
you're gonna see the end of season 1 and be like, oh.
yeah.
Just be prepared. Just be prepared for the ending, and know it's not going to be anywhere near as satisfying as you think it will be.
Yeah, it's not satisfying at all, but...
But no, the majority of season 1 is really good, high quality entertainment, and I guess for that
we
reason
didn't
alone,
really-
I would recommend it.
I mean, we didn't really go over in detail what the good points of the show was. Just it was.
Well, I was
I
just gonna say, before we move on to Death Parade, end on a positive note with Old Noah, and what's our favorite mech kill What was our favorite? Favorite
The
fight scene,
yo-yo
favorite kill?
mech was really fucking cool. I love the
That was
yo-yo
pretty
mech.
cool.
Which never got wrapped up.
Yeah.
See,
But yeah, as soon as that one rolled out, I was like, that's a mech with yo-yos. Oh my god, they're deadly yo-yos. I was in love. I love it.
it was cool.
I kind of have to go along with the. I mean, I've got two that really stick out in my mind when the Ducalion first shows up. I forget the name of that robot, but that was pretty cool. And the one with the sword, just because of the way they dealt with it, it's like, okay, the bullets aren't getting through because he's waving his sword around that much. I know. Let's swing a shipping crate into its fucking face and see if that works. And I thought that was genius.
That was season one,
I
wasn't
laughed,
it?
but it was great. Yeah, season one.
That
Yeah,
was season 1.
I
Both
think
of them were season one.
I think my favorite kill was the orbital strike onto the whirlwind dude.
That was ridiculous, but really good.
That shot of the bullet was just so cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look, it's Cassie's dad.
It is as well.
Maybe she'll have to on Skype or
what a great point to take a little break.
Oh no, yeah, we're going to take a quick break right now. We're all going to use the bathroom, get ourselves another drink, and we'll be back in a short moment. But for now, please enjoy this nice lounge music.
Do you have lounge music?
And welcome back
Hello.
to the Anime
Welcome
Rob
back,
podcast.
everyone. I hope you enjoyed that selection of lounge music I just picked out for you there. There's a very nice collection of some nice instruments, some nice sounds you might be familiar with. You might even know some of the names of the instruments. But I do not, however, know what the name of the song was or what the artist was. Because,
Excellent trumpet in that one.
Yes, there certainly was. There certainly was. Next, a bit
Is
of
that the
excellent
artist
trumpet in
name or the song name?
I don't know, because I haven't decided which lounge music I'm posting yet. There might even be any trumpets in it.
I'm just making your job a little harder. I really like
Now there has to be some
powerful
trumpet in it.
female vocals. Just really blew me away. And
That's the thing, Tom.
yeah,
that was
the harpsichord.
instrumentals.
The harpsichord was simply divine.
Yes, going back to the female vocals, it really captured the fact that women should be seen and not heard.
My word, Ravi, you seem to have become sexist all of a sudden. I've never heard such language from you before. And now back onto your the lounge music. We're going to fade back out now because Cassie's father is still at her house right now. And if anybody's interested, I think she's having problems with her car. But you don't need to worry about that right now. What you need to do is sit back, relax, and listen to this fantastic song. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for waiting for us while we were on that ad break there. I hope you enjoyed the musical selection you just listened to right there, the beautiful sounds of lounge music.
Beautiful
And,
sounds of
welcome back.
Vivaldi, you know.
I am not playing Vivaldi. on the grounds that I have had to sign on for Job Seekers Allowance before, you are on the phone for an average waiting time of 4 years, and they play nothing but Vivaldi, and they repeat the first couple of bars of Winter. Or Spring,
Sorry,
I forget
Dave,
which
what
one.
were you saying?
I hate Vivaldi. I must apologise right there. I hope you enjoyed the sounds of the lounge music I just played for you right there. And welcome back to the Animated Bro podcast. You're still joined by Cassie.
Hey.
You're still joined by Tom.
Are we doing this again?
And you're still joined by Ravi.
Yes,
So
we
I
are.
still
have
here.
to go again really soon, so we should...
Okay.
Well, in that case, then we'll drop the whole bravado and just get straight back onto the reviews. Death Parade.
Death Parade. So,
Whoa, whoa! Yeah, yeah!
yeah. That's a good place to start, isn't it? What an incredible OP.
What an OP.
God.
Amazing.
That is
I think I
so
was the
good.
first person to watch the first episode, and I came and I was like,
Yeah.
guys, best OP. And Ravi was like
Yes.
the next one to go, yep, it's Death Parade.
No,
And then nobody knew I'd watched it until I joined the Skype call and just went, everybody, put your hands up. And now that I know that I can get away with playing that on YouTube, I'm going to take any opportunity I can to play that song.
And
But
we've
not
got
this
songs
episode.
right here.
I'm pretty confident in saying that's my favorite anime OP.
I don't know, it was up there. And then Fate's Day Nights just started coming out, and I do genuinely think that's my favourite OP of all time, but we will save that for another day. and when we pay homage to the
Should
grand
we?
work that is Fate Stay
We
Night,
should
Songs of Play Like
probably
Season 2.
get anime of the season done now. I think if I can sense the room, I think it's a good time to do it now. Where do we stand on anime of the season, guys?
Death Parade.
Death Parade?
Fate Stay Night. The first episode of Fate Stay Night was better than everything in Death Parade. No, I'm joking. Do you know what? I'll say this now. I don't think it matters what comes out in the next upcoming months, because Death Parade is going to have a huge shot at being not just being in the top 10, but possibly being number 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to wait and see what wait and see what happens.
Well, I mean, Death Parade kind of came out of nowhere. Something else could happen like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
It's true.
But,
It's true.
What are the chances we're going to get 9 other things like that?
I mean, a show
it's
that
gonna be,
constantly
top five
delivers
guaranteed.
every single episode.
And if
are
Death
we gonna
Parade is
have
not in the
that?
top 5, I look forward to this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
my
true.
God. That's a fantastic way of putting it. Yeah, yeah. So where do we even get started on this one? I mean, I guess we could stick with the music, because not only is the OP one of the best I've ever heard, and it could possibly, I think it does fit quite easily into my top 10. There was a song on the soundtrack that was called Moonlit Night, and it was on episode
Was it the skating scene?
11 during the skating scene.
Yeah.
And it is just forget just it goes in there with all of the normal music, rock music, rap, hip hop, club dance, hip hop, dubstep, whatever. That everything I've ever heard. It's one of the best pieces of music or songs I've ever heard in my fucking life, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. Everything else in the soundtrack was great, but that one just stood out to me so much. And my dick. It's just fantastic.
Ending song, I didn't think a whole lot about until I think it was episode 9,
Yeah.
where they put it in with the
They mix it in.
episode, and with all the
Oh boy.
pucks and shit, and I was like, fuck, it was so good. That entire sequence of events was so good.
Oh.
And that made me like it a hell of a lot more.
So, instead of jumping into and talking about stuff that we did like, I got to ask, is there anything we didn't like about the show?
I really
felt
wish
more
we had
intensity
seen
when-
actual.
I have
think,
got one very, very minor complaint, but I'll let you guys go first.
Sorry,
And
I
now
see
You
what
guys
you're
can't
saying.
see that.
Someone
You guys listening right now can't see this, but I'm looking at 3 people right now who are really, really struggling to try and think of anything that bothered them even in the slightest.
I've got minor complaints. I have no major complaints. My biggest minor complaint would be it really stuck to the procedural nature of the show, where each episode was a self-contained story. And while that is keeping true to its origin of a 20-minute short, basically, there was only one 2-parter. There was only a few episodes that wasn't one of these cases or trials, whatever you want to call them, that actually kind of dealt about stuff that was happening outside the bigger picture kind of episodes. There's only about 3 big picture episodes in the whole series. The rest of it was just them in Quindecum trialing someone.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen more of the world, more of the other characters. But at the same time, that's the show doing it. It's the show being itself. You know what I mean? That's what the show is. So while that's what I would have, I think I would have wanted it to be a 24.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think it needed a little bit more explanation, but it was contained.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Maybe like an 18.
I would love more info, but I think 24 episodes would have been more than it needed.
Yeah,
Wait,
you're right
what
there.
if-
Maybe like a 4-episode long OVA series that got attached on the end, kind of like what some
If it
series
went
have
more
done.
into the characters there, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and like
I'd
the
be okay with that.
repercussions.
Prequel.
What about
Yeah, even that.
Maybe what about the season 2? Focusing on a different arbiter that we
I don't-
haven't met before.
Maybe I could be.
I don't like the idea of that because
It
I
would
feel like it
kinda
would
just
ruin
be
it.
repetitive.
I don't think it would help it in any way.
no,
I think it would
I
just
can-
bring
no,
it down.
but
I don't.
No. I disagree with that because it all depends on the characters that they have there telling these short stories. Because, as you said, that it was rather formulaic sometimes in the fact that most episodes would just be two people will come to be judged, and they will play a game, and then obviously we'll find out why it is that they died and why they've moved on to this world, and we find out a little bit more about them. And most of those episodes were pretty heartbreaking to watch sometimes, and were fantastically done. I think I could watch more of that, depending on if they could keep the stories just as interesting and just as heartbreaking as they were in this season.
Like, I could, but I don't know. I feel like it's something I'd be afraid of ruining. Because I have such a good fucking image of it right now. I wouldn't want anything to break that, and it doesn't need to.
It doesn't need to, but if it came along, I wouldn't hesitate for a second to watch.
Oh, I'd watch it in a second, but yeah. It's not something I would sit and beg for a second season of.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I'm happy if they don't make another season.
Yeah,
but I would watch a second season.
Absolutely, I am, yeah.
But it depends what they did with the second season. I think to do a second season right, what they need to do is basically wrap up Deckham's storyline. Say season 1 was about Deckham.
Yeah.
And basically
I want to more know about Nona and the old guy.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that would be the first thing I would want to know more about.
Do a new arbiter. Maybe Nona's made a new arbiter or something. And go on from there. After the events of season 1, where the repercussions of her experiment with emotions and arbiter are starting to pay off, maybe Deckham starts to unravel, and we see that as a side character. Obviously, he got so attached to... What's the name? What's Blackhead Girls?
No, Chiyuki.
Yeah, he got like so attached to her, and maybe something lingers after the reset. I don't know.
And maybe for
I
this
assume something did, like the way that affected him, and
maybe as Tom said, then he could just be a side character who's imparting knowledge onto this new arbiter who does have human emotion as well.
Yeah, and
kind of like they would meet up in another bar or maybe somewhere where they go and get something to eat, and then this other character would be asking, like, who's that guy over there? He seems really upset about something, and they'd be like, oh, it's Deckham, don't go anywhere near him, he's completely changed. And it'd be something that happens a couple of years down the line where, as you said, then he has unraveled and because he fell for this girl or what have you.
See, this is another thing I'm wondering. How old was she?
She seemed about in her 20s, early 20s.
Yeah,
I would say.
early
See, that's what I thought
22,
until
23.
the last few episodes where it was showing her like living with her parents and she was a skater and she had dreams and then she killed herself. It was just like, that all seemed like something that was more like younger. She seemed a lot younger from that last episode.
That's why I would say like early 20s would be a good guess.
But I don't think she was like a teenager.
No, I don't.
That's I don't know. Like, I thought she was like 26 or something, maybe, like from first impressions. But those last couple episodes made her seem a lot younger.
Yeah.
To be fair, in terms of just how she looks as well, that would be the one minor complaint that I would have with the show is the character design. All of the females do look a lot similar. Well, sorry, the majority of them do look a lot similar. Like Nona and
what?
Queen.
They don't look alike.
The female characters,
well,
a lot of them do. The faces
okay,
do.
sure, the faces do.
Within the
face.
face. Sorry, I should have specified that. Within the face, they do all look a lot similar.
I mean, that's a very anime thing to say, because a lot of faces are like... A series has its type of face, and then everyone in that series has that type of face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. That was the only thing that only stood out to me as
I did like about Death Parade is everyone had like the
negative.
longer faces, and it made everything seem more dramatic at times, and just... It was a good choice, I guess.
And the crying sometimes as well. I guess that was the overflooding of tears sometimes was kind of strange.
Good. No, I liked it.
It didn't bother me. It's just something that I didn't see all that much.
Like, some shows do like really ugly crying, and sometimes that's fucking great. Like
Your Lie in April.
I haven't seen it.
I mean, I don't know. That's not even human crying. Like the tears. The tears are
sweating as well, I guess.
The tears in Your Lie is April were bigger than their eyeballs in some scenes.
Yeah. I did go a bit too far sometimes.
Yeah. It's a very moist show.
Absolutely. You can go back to a previous episode and hear Tom's absolutely spot on theory as to why we think that does happen in Your Lie in April. But to go back onto Death Parade, I guess we just said like whether we think the show could continue, but we said it doesn't need to, obviously, because I think that conclusion was fantastic. I'm sure you guys would all probably agree with me. Yeah. So yeah, any more negative stuff we could possibly say about it? Because it's very easy to talk about what the show has done well, because it's done it so fantastically fucking well. It'd just be interesting to hear whether you guys thought it'd done anything wrong.
I think maybe if we'd seen a little bit more like situation, like isn't like them in different settings, They were always
Yeah.
in the same place.
See, that was what I said, yeah.
But I think that's where they are. Like, they don't seem to
Yeah, they
change
can't
a
really-
lot.
The world
they can't
they're
really
in,
break out to
Right,
that
but like
place.
the elevator
the
had
world
so
they
many
live
buttons.
in. Oh, I see what you mean.
We want to see every floor!
No, that's a good point. Yeah, more locations.
Hey, they said they
Yeah.
had they said they had 90 floors in there. We could possibly get another like 80 to 90 seasons out of this. We're going to visit every fucking arbiter and let's just see what they can do
Oh
every
yeah,
season.
I want to know what Clavis's eyes look like. That's the only question I had.
No, you don't.
Implying he has
Sort of
eyes at
fucking
all.
God.
we saw Brock's eyes, and that was horrific.
Yeah.
We did see him open them once. And I think we can all agree that that was something that never should have happened and something that we don't want to go back and see again.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Actually,
so,
I would say Clavis, I think, was kind of flat compared to
he seems so different to everybody else as well. And
Yeah.
Who was it who said the point yesterday? I think it said that he was probably just another doll.
That was me.
Was it Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he probably
I
was,
like that
actually. That's a
theory.
good point.
Yeah, I really like that theory. That's why I want to see his fucking eyes. So if he has the cross symbol or whatever in them, he's...
Yeah, we
One
know
of
he's
them?
not a we know
Yeah.
he's not an officer.
But
Yeah,
if he
I
doesn't,
wanna
then yeah,
know
he's
what,
another doll. That would be cool to know.
But at the same time, he had a lot of personality for somebody who was just a doll.
Yeah, I
He
guess
was
so.
very just
Right,
happy
but
all the
Chief, he
time.
was just a doll at some point, basically.
Well, no,
That's a
because
fair point as well,
okay. I guess what I'm trying to say is he's a manufactured soul.
Well, isn't that
yeah.
kind of what they're all supposed to be?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
clearly
they
none
are
of
all
them are,
manufactured.
like-
The
Honestly,
only
they
one
all
they
have
don't-
manufactured for
personality,
the
they're not
intent of
supposed
controlling
to.
the elevator. Or,
Yeah,
like,
that's
serving.
what I meant. That is what I meant. He's basically a homunculus. Well, I mean, they all are homunculi technically.
I don't, it is kind of funny though how they say like arbiters are supposed to have no emotion, and every single one of them is so different. Like,
Yeah, so that's actually, I guess that's a small plot hole potentially. Is Nona,
Yeah, what was the-
Nona got in trouble for putting emotions into arbiters. So who the fuck put emotions into Quinn and Nona? Because those two are probably the most expressive characters
that's
in the
probably
series.
kind of one of the things you're supposed to answer yourself and go like, like.
See, I assumed it's because they were old enough.
Maybe that's why she's not an arbiter anymore, I guess.
Maybe.
And then on top of that, even, what was the other guy called? The red-haired guy?
Ginty or Ginty?
Yeah, Ginty, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was always pissed
he
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but he was a
anger an
creation.
emotion?
He was a creation, just like
I liked
Deccan
him
was.
a lot, just because he was like, humans all suck. Fuck it.
You see, I did kind of like it until he sent those two characters to hell or to the void.
I love that.
I
was
hated it. I was like,
perfect.
why?
Yeah, no, that was perfect.
It was good.
For his character, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh, for his character, but
I mean, it was a bit upsetting.
Bad.
It was a bit upsetting.
Also,
but,
it was
I mean,
a really
that's
good scene
thing.
to actually
was a
see someone
choice.
being sent to the
It
void.
was entirely a choice.
Like, before that, we'd never seen what happened when people got sent to the void or anything like that.
Oh,
And
and
that was
the
actually
music
like
in
a
that scene
visual
as well was
depiction
so
of it.
fucking
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
I'm not denying that was a fantastic scene. All I'm saying
It
was
was great.
that it kind of seemed really fucking harsh to send them to
Well,
the
yeah.
void.
Yeah, but I mean, bad shit happens.
I feel like he did that a lot.
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah. Imagine that the manager's going around just going, Ginty, I don't know if you've taken a look at your personal record, but
Have people been going to heaven on your watch?
yeah, I don't think you've sent a single. No, you didn't. You haven't sent a single person for reincarnation in 2,000 years. Maybe. I think maybe you should speak to somebody about that. I might
All
have
he
to report
does-
this to Nona.
all he does is as soon as someone comes out of the elevator, he just kicks them back onto it and sends them down. And then he goes, "As a
Your
nap."
yearly review is coming up. Are you sure you don't want to get some reincarnations under your belt?
Of course not,
Again.
you fucking idiot.
We might have to drop you down a few floors. I don't know about this one.
Maybe this just isn't the right position for you. And then he just shoots eyes at him like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you carry on talking. No, that's fine. I will, I'm going to hand the situation over to Nona, and she will be here to give you your review in 2 weeks' time. And then he sends that guy into the void, and then the vicious cycle continues.
Yeah, Nona is more or less the reason I want to do. Like, I'm so
Yeah, I really
interested
wanna know
in
what
like
that
Wait,
was.
I
that.
just remembered something. His cat fucked off. Did it come back?
Yeah,
No, I
well,
don't
we
think it
don't know
did
what
it?
was going on with the cat. I assume the cat was like an old arbiter.
I
or
remember it
something.
leaving, and I just realized I didn't even think of this until now. Did it come back?
I don't know. I don't
No,
think so.
I don't think it did it?
Don't think
I
so.
don't remember it
two.
coming back.
Season 2.
We want to know what happened to the fucking cat, goddammit.
Yeah, I can't remember the cat's name, but yeah.
Yeah, season 2, Cat Parade. It's all about the adventures of the cat.
It runs through floor to floor, right? We see what happens on every floor.
Yeah. See, there we go. We've already written season 2 for these people. Well, at least the premise, anyway. So yeah, music, phenomenal.
Perfect.
Characters are the most interesting part of the show. Although we didn't dig into that too much, outside of our two main characters.
The
characters are more interesting than they deserve to be.
Yeah.
What was everyone's favorite episode? Because each episode was a self-contained.
That's a tough.
Okay, I can tell you that my least favorite episode was the one with the childhood friend who changed her appearance.
Yeah, I was actually considering that to be my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know. That one, for some reason, just didn't sit that well with me. Like,
really?
All the other ones I loved, but yeah, I didn't like that episode.
Which
that
one
might be
did
my
you
favorite.
like the least?
That's what I said.
Oh,
that
okay.
one would be my least. My favorite, it's the last episode, right, where they like revisit Cheese Home.
Yeah,
I cried like a bitch.
that was pretty close to the bone for me as well.
Yeah, that was something that it was more of like I imagined that because I've like dreamed situations like that before, and yeah, no, I teared up a lot. I love that.
You know what? The one. I think this probably is my favorite episode. The guy who committed suicide and the girl who was terrified of leaving her kids behind.
The arcade episode.
The single mother.
That was really good.
Episode,
that was right after the date episode as well.
My other contender was the second part of the murderer episode.
Because that fucking broke my heart watching that guy committed suicide. Like, it's only now he's realised the damage he's done to his family and the damage he was doing to his family while he was still alive.
It was a good contrast for people, like the mother and
really?
That's why that worked out so nicely.
That episode hit me really hard. That was the one that made me tear up the most, I'd say.
Really strong life is precious vibes from this series. Like,
absolutely.
It was really good at that.
Yeah, Deckham tearing up, like losing it in that final episode is such a powerful scene.
It was good.
My God, yeah.
The scene where he clutches his heart.
Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah. God damn. What a great series.
Because everything in that was so perfect.
It's like
the
maybe
voice
they all
acting,
like
delivery,
started
the
as
music.
this is theory now. I just got it right now. So they all like start as dummies, right? But seeing so many humans and so many emotions going through, they start to learn and pick up and adapt to that.
See,
I think that might actually kind of be like the thing.
That's what I think Nona and Quinn get theirs from. It's basically they've just been around for so long that they just shit gets imprinted on them.
It'd be impossible for you to not like pick up on shit like that.
They keep wiping them. I imagine to stop personality building up, but it must be a perfect process and something must get left behind. Yeah. And if these things are going for hundreds or thousands of years, then eventually it's just going to accumulate.
Right, like they eat every time they download the memories. So like, does that leave no lasting impact? I don't.
Yeah, it must
that's possible.
It has to. Like
even just to a small extent, absolutely has to,
you would not be able to.
You can't experience shit like that and not be affected by it. Like there's still people to a point, I guess.
Oh, that's my biggest complaint. The eyes when they download the memories. Ugh, gross.
Oh, the spinning and the
that was gross and dumb. so like
there you go, the worst part of Death Parade.
Like 2, maybe 3 1-second scenes in the entire series I didn't like. Everything else was great.
Yep. And a thought that's just occurred to me right now is obviously we know Deckham took over from Quinn, right?
Yep.
So does that mean Ginty took over from somebody else? Because if that is the case, then that kind of backs up what you guys are just saying there, because if you're saying that somehow they can't delete every single memory and they do learn from their experiences and it kind of builds up and builds up and builds up.
Yeah, why would they need to replace them ever?
The only thing I remember was Ginty the one who like bragged about being on a higher floor? I feel like that was his only like point when Deckham got moved in. He was like, "Oh, you're on such a low floor, faggot."
That's what I'm saying. It will back up your theory that you guys have just had there. That maybe it is the case that sometimes that they do learn too much, or they can't delete every single memory.
I loved Quinn. What a good character! God damn, we needed more of her.
Yeah, she was pretty funny. So then an arbiter would all get too much for them, and then maybe Nona would see fit to get rid of them and replace them with a new person.
Best VA as well.
That's the thing. I want to know more of what this old guy's role is, because he was
so serious
when it came down to it. He was like, you know,
Yeah, when that thing
Super
happened with his
stern.
beard, I thought somebody was gonna fucking die. I was like, whoa, I just came out of fucking nowhere.
Guys, you remember that one
Fucking
fight
kid is
scene?
skipping school again.
That one fucking fight scene, which was really fucking well done. It came out. It was when Ginty popped out of the kid or whatever it was and shot his balls.
Yeah.
Shot his.
That's another
balls.
compliment to the show as well.
Oh god, the
The
visuals.
animation was fucking gorgeous. Like, it
Yeah.
didn't
And you know
put
what?
a
I
foot
think it
wrong
stood
the
out
entire
more in
time.
the
Well,
first
maybe
episode
if you
than
don't like the
anything
eyes,
even.
it did. So
Like, the first episode for me was one that really stood out with the animation. Maybe it's just because it was the first one, but with the strings and, like, the guy crying and, like, wanting to fucking hurt this woman and being held back, and, like, just all of the facial expressions in that first episode were so good. Like,
Everything with the organs was so well done. Like the heart beating and like the organs moving around, the eyes.
Oh man, yeah, that reminds me. This series has a very misleading opening 10 minutes. I'd completely forgotten. I started watching this show. I was like, oh wow, that's a cool OP, and then I was like, whoa, this shit is edgy as fuck, because it opens up with basically like a Saw-style torture game. Because the way they set it up is you also think the same things that they're thinking. You think there's a bunch of bodies back there.
Yeah.
You think they are playing for their lives. You don't realize it's the afterlife. So
I don't. In the first episode, I assumed it was the afterlife. Like,
I don't know.
it made too much sense.
I
don't know.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
said
know.
Death Parade in the title, so
Yeah,
I guess so. I wasn't really.
But
I
no,
don't know.
they did introduce it well like that.
Yeah, so I was like, holy fuck, this is too edgy for me, guys. Like, I need to make a My Chemical Romance AMV out of this ASAP. And then, like, so that was like 10 minutes in, and I was like putting it in the Skype chat as well, like, guys, so edgy. And then, like, 10 minutes further than that.
Lincoln Park
And then 10 minutes further than that, I was like, wow, what a bait. I got so outplayed by the show. When they like explain everything, and then there was like a really heartfelt ending to the episode.
Second episode was like a huge explanation of everything.
Yeah.
But, like, that was what I liked about watching it as it came out, was after watching the first episode, sitting and picking it apart and wondering like the characters' motivations and everything. Like, you just thinking about that. And then the second episode explained everything perfectly. So, like, I feel like watching it all at once, it wouldn't be the same experience. But being able to sit and think for a week and sit on that was great.
You don't have any
And then
time to
having
shoot it,
like Chi come out and like her thoughts are pretty much online with what people were thinking. Like, yeah, see? I feel justified now.
yeah, you're like, huh,
that's a very,
Declan
very
was
good
wrong.
point you just brought
And then
up
you're
there.
like, wait, yeah, we're right. Declan was wrong.
Go us. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also weird too that there's like, if you fuck up as an arbiter, no one cares.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't get judged
You
for
just
that.
ship people off however
Also,
you feel. You're just like, yeah.
They are the judges, but the judges don't have anybody to judge them.
The
Yeah.
Void is way worse than they explained at the first episode as well.
Oh, yeah.
When they
Well, that's
explained
because
it,
they explained it as heaven and hell. Like, that's how they initially say it.
No. I mean more when they said you either get reincarnated or you get thrown into the Void. I thought when you get thrown into the Void, you just get deleted. That's like Black Death. There's nothing. That's not what it is.
No.
You're trapped down there.
I
You
think
can't do
that's-
anything. You're just in this mass
Isn't
of
that
souls.
Buddhism? Is Buddhism like reincarnation in the void?
Yeah, but it's
think
not
it
really.
is.
It doesn't allow. It doesn't have the void.
Wait,
The void isn't even
Isn't-
part of it.
isn't that Hindu?
No?
No.
I think both have.
I feel like
both
it's
have
based
their-
off of
reincarnation, but there's no
something.
Yeah, I was
void
going
in
to say both do
either of
have
them.
reincarnation.
Right.
Really?
All right.
Or I think maybe
there's something
later
that
parts
does,
of
I know.
Buddhism, like what it evolved into, has the void. But
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
It's also funny, too, that they do tell it to everyone as heaven and hell. Like, that's what they tell all their customers, I guess.
Yeah.
Can you guess how much they freak out if they actually told them what the void was?
Well, I mean, it's
I guess that's the only reason why.
if
Well,
they
I
thought
feel
they were
like
going
then
to
they
hell.
would if that were the case, though, because they're trying to get strong emotional reactions from people. If they said reincarnation in the void, and it would get...
But I
bigger
have to
reactions.
imagine every human being would react the same to being told, oh no, you will be totally aware of what's going on, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
and
I
you're
don't
there
know
for
then.
eternity. I can imagine that would draw out the most negative thoughts out of every single
They
person.
should probably
most
tell
people
them
on
that,
this
then.
planet. Yeah, I if I were an arbiter, I wouldn't tell anybody what the void was. That's definitely one way to even the kindest person on the planet freak out just maybe even a little bit, I guess.
I do really like how they completely accepted and broke down the faulty logic of the trialing process.
Yeah.
Like, that was good, because, I mean, they go into it in the first episode where, like, she was like, no, you're wrong, and it's like, and then, like, from the very beginning, they set it up as an imperfect process. And then, yeah, they really go into that at the end. It's great.
That was why it was so good, though, because it like, just, like, shit you were thinking was exactly what they touched on. Yeah? Like, it was really good storytelling and all for, like, all the individual episodes, and then they just tie into it, and they're like, this is not the right way to do this. Like,
perfect. So, I mean, have we got anything else to throw in that, or should we give it the 3 R's?
Yep.
I think let people decide by themselves. Honestly, we've said what we need to say.
Because the 3 R's for me were extremely different. But, well, one of the 3 R's, because would I rewatch it? Yeah. Would I recommend it? Fucking absolutely. But it's the scoring I can't quite decide on, because I've got to give it a 10 out of 10, right? Because I enjoyed it so much, and I don't think it has any flaws to
I'm probably
knock it down
giving
by a
it
point.
like a 9 or a 9.5. I don't know. I'm terrible at
Here's my
scoring
pro-
things.
here's my
Everyone
problem,
knows
like-
this by now.
I've enjoyed a handful of shows more than I enjoyed Death Parade, and I've only given them like 8s and 9s, so I don't know where I'm supposed to score it. So
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, there are shows I've enjoyed a lot more and more consistently, but Death Parade deserves a 10 just because of the content.
yeah, I
The
can't argue
way,
with that. Yeah,
generally the way I work is I start at 10 and then I subtract from there. So, like, series that are close to flawless, even if I didn't enjoy them as much as other shows, still get 10. you know?
10s.
So
Yeah.
you're saying that Death Parade for you gets like a 9.75 because of the eye rolling?
It would be a 9.99. Yeah, like, I do factor in enjoyment, and I wouldn't say this is my favorite anime. I would say it's one of the
I think
most
it's worth
flawless.
anyone watching.
It's one of the most flawless
Like-
animes ever.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, some of my shows I've enjoyed more than this, I've had bigger problems. Like, I might actually say I have fonder memories of Cross Ange than Death Parade, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Death Parade is a much better show.
Yeah.
No, it is. I think for me it's a 10. It's not an all-time favorite, and I don't think it would be many people's all-time favorite animes, but goddamn, it's such a fucking masterfully
It's just
made.
it's something that is worth seeing.
Yeah,
It's not something you
yeah,
have to see.
absolutely,
It's
yeah.
something worth seeing.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another good point as well. I'm not sure if this would make it into my top 10, and if it did, it would only just creep in. And I think everything else on that list,
there's nothing
I've got
wrong
big
with that.
problems with.
It doesn't. The thing is it doesn't do anything special enough to make it
I don't know.
anyone's
I
favorite.
thought it was kind of unique. I don't think that's like its problem.
No, yeah, okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know how to word it either. But
It's hard to
you're on the right
yeah.
track.
It doesn't have a flair. It doesn't have something about it where you're just like, holy shit. But
Yeah,
It
it doesn't
doesn't
have
have,
everything-
like, a best girl or
everything-
anything.
It doesn't have like
yeah.
the main things that people latch onto though either. Like,
it doesn't have
it's
a
not
scene
super
that
fan
it doesn't have a scene that I'm
service-y.
going to replay over and over again. It's not an anime
Yeah.
that you're going to get hyped about, but
It's an Oscar-winning anime.
It is.
That's
That's a great way of
basically
putting
it.
it. That's a great
That's a very
way
good
of putting
analogy,
it.
yeah.
Everything it sets out to do, it executes on almost flawlessly.
Yeah.
So another question I want to ask Tom more specifically. I can't remember who was in that last podcast that we put out, and we were talking about needing a stream of consistently good anime. We were talking about the whole putting anime into the mainstream TV viewing audience. Do we think Death?
We touched
I
on
was going to
this.
say, do we?
Oh, I was
that's
like
what-
that.
yeah. I think Cassie
think-
was in that one. In fact, Ravi was there as well. Actually,
I
so yeah,
think
we all were.
this is a much more Western-oriented series, and
Yeah, I was
Death
this is
gonna say,
pretty
do we
easily
think-
accessible for anyone.
And it doesn't
yeah,
have like
Western,
any
Definitely
like
deserve to be on
quirks,
this
like,
list.
oh, this is a very Japanese concept, like,
yeah.
familial relations. Like,
It's something
it's
very
universal.
relatable. Yeah,
So I guess now the only thing that
but I don't
we
think
could
it'll
probably
get a
consider
dub.
it's missing is that's what I was going to say, an amazing dub. Well, not an amazing dub, but
That's
at
what we
least
were
a
talking
fitting
about
one.
too. Like we were talking about Japanese sales.
Oh.
Death Parade is nowhere near the top of fucking anything in Japan
yeah.
at all.
I found
Everything
hear about
that
that.
we've
That's
talked about
shocking.
today did better than Death Parade. And
I
I
saw
think Death Parade is the most universally liked thing that we've talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw a
absolutely.
popularity poll from some Japanese website that took everyone's like favorite anime from last season. From Japan, it was a Japanese poll.
Yeah.
Death Raid didn't even make the list of the top 20.
Yeah, like I was looking
Shocking.
at the sales thing, and that had like 30 things on it or something, and Death Parade wasn't on it.
Yeah.
Like,
God damn. The power of Moe still
like
rolls
on
on
to
Yona
this
this
day.
Dawn was like number 18 or something on it, and that's not something that really
Oh,
deserves a lot of popularity. It's good, I liked it, but like,
you know what the worst thing is as well?
Why?
Cross Ange was like 6th on that list, and it's got to be because of the
Yeah.
fan service. Because Cross Ange's story elements wouldn't sell in Japan. It touches on similarly mature themes as Death Parade. Death Parade executes on its storytelling way better than Cross Ange does, but it definitely tackles mature subjects, and Japan
So
doesn't
would you
seem
watch a
particularly
Death Parade
interested.
with fan service.
God,
how do you do that?
that wouldn't even
Yeah.
exist. Death Parade with fan service would be a different show.
Yeah.
Like it couldn't exist the way it is now. Yeah, so that's it's a shame. It's a shame it didn't do well in Japan, but let's hope it does fucking well here, because I
Yeah.
hope there's
Yeah.
an immaculate dub. I hope it gets on front page of Netflix, and
I made my coworker watch it. It's a start.
yeah, and it's one of those shows. I think it's going to make that list of shows I can recommend to anyone. Up there with like FMA Brotherhood,
I've already
Attack on
recommended it to
Titan,
someone.
Death Note.
Yeah, that's a show you could recommend to almost anyone.
Oh, and Fate Zero, obviously.
I can't think of anybody I wouldn't recommend this to.
Yeah.
This show is literally for anyone and everyone. So, I guess we could probably wrap it up at that point.
Yeah,
there.
let's-
It's a kind of a
Yeah.
somber note to wrap up on as
I'm
well.
guessing
God
this
damn,
is gonna
Death
be
Parade
2
didn't do
episodes.
that well.
What do?
It probably is. With all the lounge music I've got to throw in there, it's definitely gonna stretch 2 episodes.
I mean, we've
Yeah, sorry
reached
about that.
2:45 in recording.
Yeah, but I
So
was
this
gone
would
for like half
technically
an
be the
hour.
longest podcast. Even if I were to make all of the cuts that have to be made, this would still be the longest podcast we've ever recorded
Yeah.
in one go.
Nice.
Or 2 goes in Tom's case.
We ended up talking about a lot more than expected. Like, we all said we only watched like 3 or 4 shows, but we watched a lot of different shows.
See,
Yeah.
what we've
We
just
missed
done.
out on the majority of shows.
What we've just done,
And-
technically, is an anime abridged compilation video. Because we've done very short, we've done very short form reviews for about 7 series, and I don't think we would have really done a show about any of those 7 series except maybe
No.
Death Parade. But we didn't
Like,
really
maybe,
want to
yeah, I was
do
gonna say
one
maybe
for Death Parade.
but
Yeah, we didn't really
because
want
then
to.
Nate would have
Yeah.
gotten to talk about it, which he did. But the fact that he hadn't watched anything but Death Parade, kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I've made a rule now, after what happened after that, the last time I had more than 4 people on a podcast, it went to shit very quickly.
4 people is a
were
good
drunk.
amount. 3 people
Yeah.
would be a good amount for less subject matter. I agree with it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I will not have more than 4 people on my my podcast anymore.
This podcast is turning so meta.
We're starting to get structure, guys. Slowly, it's progress.
Slowly but surely, we will
if you
get
compare
there
us to
eventually.
6 months ago, we're doing way better now.
Absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
there's a very distinct reason for that. And congratulations,
Are
Tom.
we looking at Tom?
I didn't do anything.
Absolutely.
I didn't do anything. I just sit in the Skype chat saying, "Guys, could you please do this? Or guys, could you please do that?"
It's all the reason we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, a round of applause for Tom, I think. Round of applause
Yeah.
for Tom.
Thank you. And as the host of this episode, everyone else
there we go.
listening needs to clap for me as well.
Tom,
We will
close
know
it
if
out.
you haven't clapped, by the way.
Yeah, we will.
fucking know.
We will.
I'm pretty
We
sure
are
my dad's
watching.
outside working on my vehicle again, so I should probably close it up.
All right. All right, brilliant.
All right, then.
What a great season. What a great podcast.
Yeah.
I have been your host,
Agreed.
Tom. I have been with Dave.
Hello, my name is Dave, and I will do all the plugs before I forget. You can like our... thank you very much for listening, as Tom just said then. If you want to keep up to date with the latest Anime Abroad news, you can like our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter. If you like to look at funny anime pictures, Ravi's got you covered over on Tumblr. If you want to send us anything at all, dick pictures,
Dick pictures.
insults, jokes.
If you sent us a
questions-
dick pic, we'd probably sit and talk about it for like half an hour.
Honestly,
Guys,
not gonna lie.
Dangerous
At
territory
minimum.
here.
We have a very open email. Just send whatever you want. It's theanimeabroadpodcast@gmail.com. I will open it, well, no matter what it is. I will discuss it. I will let everybody else know that you've sent it. You can follow us on Twitter. I've just mentioned all that. You can find us on iTunes, but we're not doing anything on iTunes, so feel free to do that if you want. And if you're looking for stuff to watch or anything like that, some of us have myanimelist.net accounts. all of the links for all of that stuff will be in the description below. And from this point on, after this podcast, this will no longer be a plugging thing because I'm going to record a separate thing that will play after the ending song.
Oh,
And
that's
then
genius.
that will solve it. I done it in one of the previous episodes because nobody done it, so I just thought, so I'll do that from now on now. So Tom, please do outro everyone else.
Cassie and Ravi has
Oh,
also
thank you.
been here. Say bye, guys.
Yay.
Thanks.
Leave a comment.